Hello, my name is Blazej Floch, and today let's examine the structure of a Python script. The first thing I want to do is to add a custom script path. I've prepared this folder, I copy it, and now under Preferences, Globals, Path Map, Scripts, I prepend this path. Let's save this. Fusion automatically created these subfolders. I prepared some scripts which will act as COM scripts. Now here are my scripts. Here are my default scripts and here are my custom scripts. Let's examine the save tool script. For this I prepared a super complex composition. There it is. And what we want to do is to create breakdown shots. So we want to have single steps of this composition. The idea for the script came from a friend. So normally we would do savers by hand for every tool. What we want to do instead is just select the tools that we want breakdown steps from, and then script save tool. It will automatically create the savers for the tools that were selected and create subfolders in the composition directory. But one thing is missing. First of all, we want to save the composition now automatically with a new name so we can render. But first, we also need to disable all existing savers that were in the composition before we auto-generated our savers. So let's take a look at the code. It will be available with this video, and I've commented it so you can examine it step by step. I've prepared the disable all saver function here, but it doesn't do anything, it just passes. So let's think how to do this. First of all, we need to select all tools and get only the savers. So let's create a tool list. Just comp get tool list. Let's print this. I comment out the save tool function and say disable all saver. So it will start with this function and we can see what it does. As you can see, we have a dictionary of numbers as keys and the tools. But we're only interested in the tools and not the numbers. This is actually one thing which came from the Lua conversion. Most of the lists which you will get in Python will have this index, but we're not interested in it. So what you have to do is to use the values command. This will actually select the values from the dictionary. Now let's rerun this. Okay, in Python 3.1 this will create a dictValues object. Actually you could convert this to a list if you just print list before this, but it shouldn't be necessary. So let's take a look. Now it's a list. But it shouldn't matter in this case, so we leave this out. Let's look through all tools in this tool list. We can print, for example, the tool name. Okay, these are all our tools in the composition. Now, what we need to do next is to actually check what type of tool this is. To do this, we use the get attributes method. Let's print this out. As you can see, we get a dictionary of all different attributes from the tools. That looks good. Tools rec ID. Let's copy this. And let's only print out this entry. We're only interested in the savers. So let's check if the actual tool is a saver. Let's print out the tool name. We should only get this one safer in the composition. Here it is, great. So now we know that all we do inside here will only get applied to the safers. What we want to do actually is to disable this safer. Once again, let's print the get attributes. We are looking for the pass-through attribute. Here it is. And what we want to do instead is not get this attribute, but set the attribute to true, so it will get pass-through. And for this to work, we need to use a dictionary with the attribute as key and the set value as value. So now we disable the safer. Let's try this again. To prove that we are doing this for all safers, let's create a new one. That's nice. Seems to work. Great. Don't need this pass anymore. And now let's reset our script to run the save tool. We select steps for the breakdown. As you can see, the test safer was disabled and our new safers were enabled. That's great. One thing left. We need to save this composition with a new name. Let's append a breakdown at this composition name. The best position to do this is here after we unlock the comp. So at the very end we want to resave this composition. First of all, we need to get the path of the composition. Let's check where it is hidden. Once again we use the get attributes function, but this time on the composition. And of course we have to print it. Here is a path, comp, string, file name. Great, now we have the composition path in a variable. Now, what we want to do is to split this path into the path and the extension, so we can append a breakdown. For this we can use built-in Python helper functions. My favorite is the OS, or actually the OS path, which will help us manipulate paths. If you go to Python, you can see the OS path module. And here we have some very useful functions. For example, get the directory name of a path, or check if it's a directory or a file, or join paths in a platform-independent manner. The one that we are interested in is the split-ext. This will actually split the path in the root and extension. Let's use this. I've written split path instead of split extension. Sorry for that. It seems to work. Very nice. We have now the path and the extension separated. Let's set the variables for this. And now let's reset the composition path. Only thing to do is to save the composition to the new composition path. Let's try this. As you can see, our composition was saved. And here are our savers, and now we could render the breakdown steps. Thanks for listening and stay tuned.